We can go ahead and get started.
All righty. Well, again, thanks for joining us for the Emergency and Security Studies webinar today from the Tulane School of Professional Advancement. My name is Dan Ray. I'm a senior academic advisor at the school, and I'll be taking you through these slides and everything today. I've introduced myself. Next, I'll pass it off to our director, Dr. Michael Wallace, and he can introduce himself and tell us a little bit about himself.
Hi, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well today. Thank you for attending our Emergency and Security Studies section. A little bit about myself. I've been at Tulane now since 2014. I've actually been teaching in the program since 2012. I'm a retired Naval Intelligence Officer. I did 20 years. You can see the different tours I did on the screen there. I primarily teach counterterrorism and intelligence courses. Again, love this job, love interacting with students, and please, at any time during this, if you have questions, you can either type it into the chat or wait till the end. And I'd like to introduce my co-director, Dr. Becky Rouse.
Hey folks, I'm sorry I left myself off of mute, so you can probably hear all kinds of crazy sounds here. I'm at a Love's parking lot partway through Mississippi, driving from New Orleans to Wisconsin. And since I've been hanging around with Dr. Wallace's 12-year-old boy, I decided to dress like one today. So I appreciate being here with y'all and just wanted to make sure I got to check in.
All right, thanks, Becky. Thanks, Mike. All right, so just a little bit about the school. Tulane was founded initially in 1834 as a medical college of Louisiana. And it actually, we were one of the first schools to offer courses in continuing education classes in 1886. Since then, we have demonstrated and are committed to adult learners. So, just over 130 years now, that's our primary focus, the non-traditional student. Next slide, Ann. And so why SOPA, you ask? Well, there are a number of reasons. We have a depth in online courses. The majority, if not all of these graduate programs are, available online on a week-to-week basis generally. We have program and faculty that are experienced and bring their experience to the classroom. Dr. Wallace, prior military, brings everything to the classroom. All of our instructors, our faculty, work directly in the field. And so over this course of time, we've been able to develop a really strong, nationally recognized program in emergency and security studies. We have a student support section where you'll be assigned an academic advisor. They will be able to assist you every step along the way to get you set up, to get you registered for the classes you need, and any other kind of academic assistance we have available to our students to ensure that they succeed and finish the program. We are also affordable and flexible. Our tuition rates are very competitive and low compared to other schools. Not just in the state, but in the nation. And the flexibility, you can take online classes. We have, some on-ground classes. They're all catered to working adults so that, I guess even if you're not, currently working or whatever, but the classes are all available at night or online, and so that you'll be able to attend them. And we've even had Zoom classes now with COVID, and we made that all work out pretty well. We were the best equipped school, so to speak, whenever COVID happened, to be able to transition to online learning and Zoom meetings and all that good stuff. So, and then lastly, Tulane University, the name is, speaks for itself, a Tulane degree. When people see that, they know right away, that has a lot of prestige. And so next slide. Yeah, sorry. I haven't done one of these in a while, so bear with me. But online learning at SOPA, as discussed, there's a couple bullet points here. Just briefly go over. You can access learning materials, lecture notes, and assignments at any time. We use what's called Canvas, which is the online platform, kind of like Blackboard, how it used to be. And Canvas is the new online platform portal for everything, where all your materials are there. Your teacher may have some live sessions or some Q&A sessions that they may want to have with the students to get them up to speed or answer any specific questions that they weren't able to understand or interpret or whatever. Our courses are very engaging and informative with videos and interactive simulations. We have online discussion boards, which is kind of like the participation side of thing versus if you were, physically in the classroom having a discussion about a particular subject or topic with your professor. Then we have, for the online classes, these online discussion boards. They allow you to collaborate with your classmates, and then you can always refer back to those too, to see, if you may have, for reference points or anything else like that. And you can connect with a diverse group of students and improve online communication and technical skills. Like, we have a very diverse student population at the undergraduate level, and especially at the graduate level too, because since the majority of our graduate programs are online, we have people from all across the country in our programs. We have people that are active duty military overseas that are in these programs, for example. We have people in California, we have people, in other countries pretty much as well. Doing these programs, so you get a good blend, a good mix of people of all different backgrounds, of all different ages, and all different walks of life, and various reasons, for going back to school or starting school or whatever the case may be. And then, like I mentioned before, they'll have monthly online meetings with classmates, faculty, and then Dr. Wallace has a lot of knows a lot of people in the field of Homeland Security, emergency security studies. So they always bring in some really cool guest speakers, and then they present to the class, and they do Q&A sessions and stuff like that. And they will usually send out emails as well whenever we have, some other kind of guest speaker coming in that the students can then register for to attend the event. And I guess we'll start doing some of those more in person in the future. And then, of course, people who are not in the area will be able to, still be able to watch it via Zoom. All right, next slides. To continue on with the online learning, just to give you an idea, the scale, we had 1,000, almost 1,400 students complete 12,486 hours of online coursework in the last year alone. The depth there, we have 8 master's degrees, 19 graduate certificates, 4 post-baccalaureate certificates, and 320 courses that are all developed to be taught online. So we have these great instructional designers that the directors of our various programs work with to create these classes and make them, successful, beneficial to the students. So they're, getting something out of it. And for the most part, being able to take it back to their job with them and apply it right away in a lot of instances. And then the quality, as I mentioned, we have over 200 faculty trained in effective, in online instruction. They've received multiple awards, and they're all directly in the field. So they bring that experience firsthand to the classroom or to the online classroom, so to speak. Next slide. I believe I'll pass this over to Dr. Wallace here so he can briefly go over the Homeland Security field and get you guys acquainted with that.
Thanks, Dan. So if you're on this Zoom call, you're interested in emergency management and Homeland Security. At least I hope you are. So the Homeland Security field, can trace its roots back. Actually, emergency management can trace its roots back much further, but Homeland Security itself kind of came about after 9/11 in 2001. And it was primarily a counterterrorism organization. It was meant to prevent the next terrorist attack against the US. However, in 2005, we had Hurricane Katrina, and that kind of shifted what Homeland Security meant. It went from being kind of a counterterrorism operation to kind of all hazards. So that includes both natural and man-made events. And you can see here that Homeland Security includes a lot of different areas. As I say, it's a big beast, and it includes everything from emergency management, critical infrastructure, cyber, intelligence, homeland defense, border security. All that is part of what makes up Homeland Security. And also the unique thing about Homeland Security is that it's practiced at all levels of government. So here in Louisiana, we have parishes and towns, all the way up to the federal government. So it's a very unique field in that it's practiced at all levels of government. Next slide, please. I'll turn it over to Dr. Rouse.
Hey folks, the words on this slide are really, really tiny on my phone, so I'm going to wing it here. As Dr. Wallace just said about Homeland Security extending into all fields, he also mentioned that he hopes everyone on the call is actually interested in Homeland Security and or emergency management. Of course, we see them as fully integrated, but we also make the argument continually to the folks we work with and the folks we work for, which is everybody, that everything you can imagine, everything you've ever studied, every element of nature or man is tied to Homeland Security, emergency management, security management through human security. So whatever you may be interested in, I promise you, it is not impossible or even hard for us to tie it to our fields. And as Dr. Wallace mentioned too, Hurricane Katrina was an example of that watershed event, no pun intended, that occurred that kind of integrated and revitalized, if you will, the field throughout the country, making it a really attractive option for folks who are looking for either new careers or more professionalized careers, which is exactly where emergency management is going.
All right. So the security management field, this is a little different from Homeland Security and emergency management, although it is very complementary to both those. One of the great things about being in this job is I get to travel a lot and meet some very interesting people, both in the government, both in the private sector, and also in the NGO kind of quasi-governmental sectors. And one thing that struck me is there are a lot of private industries out there that need a lot of the emergency management and security side of Homeland Security in their businesses. They worry about keeping their employees safe. They worry about keeping customers safe. They worry about industrial espionage. They worry about cyber attacks. You've seen recently cyber attacks against a number of companies here in the United States, including the Colonial Pipeline, including meat production. And this all affects us. This is all part of the critical infrastructure that is kind of the line between a civilized society and anarchy. Not to get too dark on y'all, but this is the security management field. So this is the private corporate side and everything that goes into what they need to make their citizens safe and to do their job. Next slide. So where are emergency and security professionals found? In short answer, everywhere. I think you might have gathered that from our previous slides. At every level of government. So starting at the federal government all the way down to your town or parish or county, you have Homeland Security and emergency management offices. In the private sector, you have emergency managers and security managers at every level of business. So from the big corporations, big oil and gas companies, all the way down to smaller companies. A huge industry right now is hospital and hospital systems. You think about it, hospitals and hospital systems have to have everything that we've been talking about. They are worried about terrorist attacks, they're worried about emergency management, they're worried about storms, they're worried about cyber attacks. And so all of these areas, you can find Homeland Security, security, and emergency management professionals. So it's a huge field to get in. And the other good thing is you can go anywhere in the country and find jobs in this field.
Can I add something to this slide as well? And then I'm going to kick off. I'm going to jump off. It sounds like I'm going to die. I wanted to add too that even though Dr. Walsh just did a great job of describing all of the arenas and the sectors, one thing we learned and was reinforced for us last week when we were at the National Hurricane Conference in New Orleans is consultancy and contracting agencies for those entities, which is everyone else. I'm sitting at a Love's gas station, and I promise they've got emergency managers and security managers at corporate levels, but they also have oversight at every single gas station, every single church, every school, every entity, and mom and pop shops even. That one of the future things we're heading toward in both our programs and in the world or the industries of Homeland Security and emergency management is this consultancy-based kind of operation where you become a subject matter expert or you're an expert advisor. You're able to teach folks how to conduct risk assessments, do vulnerability analysis, threat and hazard identification. And so we are incorporating those kind of skills and competencies into our program. It's something new that we're going to launch in the coming school year, probably in the spring, at both graduate and undergraduate levels. So we hope sometimes folks who get on these calls are already enrolled and planning to come to school, and some folks are just thinking about it. But it is one thing our program offers that nobody else has. So I hope you'll be in touch with us and at least ask us more about the details of how we're going to effect that possibility. And with that, I'm going to say goodbye.
So I'm going to go through now the different degrees that we offer here at Tulane University, SOPA, Emergency and Security Studies. The first one is a BA in Homeland Security Studies. It's similar to a typical undergrad degree, 120 total credit hours, with 30 of those being in Homeland Security. Dan's actually the advisor for the undergrad degree. He knows more about this than I ever will. But the courses that you'll take within the 30 include intelligence analysis, emergency management, health and medical issues and emergency management, critical infrastructure, which again is extremely important. Whatever you do within security and emergency studies, critical infrastructure is vital, and cybersecurity. We also offer something for those in the undergrad program. We have a 4+1 program here, which that means that you, before your senior year, you can apply for the graduate program as an undergrad. And if you're accepted, you start taking 2 graduate courses during your senior year, and then you move right into the graduate program after you graduate from your undergrad. We've actually had a lot of students do this, and you could get a master's degree within 5.5 years, 5.5 years. Next slide, please. We also have certificates, and we have a couple of different certificates. We have a post-baccalaureate certificate, and what this is if you already have a bachelor's degree, but it's in another subject and you want to learn more about emergency and security studies, we have this post-baccalaureate that's made up of our undergrad courses. So you take 8 courses and you're awarded a post-baccalaureate certificate. This is, again, if you already have a college degree and you want to learn more about the field, possibly get in the field, this would be for you. We also have graduate certificates. The admissions standards are the same as our graduate degree programs. They're made up of 4 courses each, so a total of 12 hours, and they're stackable. And this is kind of the best thing about these graduate certificates. For example, if you wanted to take the emergency management graduate certificate, you could take our intro graduate certificate in emergency management. That's 12 hours. And if you like that or enjoyed it, or it was a good fit for you, you can take our advanced emergency management certificate, build upon those 2, and you would have 8 out of the 11 courses already done for your master's degree. You can see the certificate areas in intelligence, security management, and we have general and advanced, emergency management, general and advanced, and then also in sports security, which is a huge field. It's getting bigger and bigger. Think about all the sports stadiums, all sport teams. They need security and emergency management. You have to know how to understand how those both work together to keep fans and players safe. Another one that I hope to propose to our council this fall is an open source intelligence certificate. Open source intelligence is a field that's exploding on the government and the private side. It's all about finding information on the web, and then after you find this information, what you do with it, analyze it. If you've never Googled yourself, do it. It's scary, but there's a lot of information out there that you can find. There's a organization called Bellingcat that's done some amazing things, finding things on the web and actually taking down governments. It's pretty impressive. Next slide. So the emergency and security studies graduate degrees, all three are Masters of Professional Studies. They're 33 total hours, and this includes a capstone. So you have 10 courses and a capstone. The capstone kind of ties everything that you've learned in the program together. You usually take the capstone during your last semester at Tulane. We have three different ones, as I mentioned before: Homeland Security, Emergency Management, and Security Management. To be admitted into the program, you have to have a 3.0 GPA. We also take into account other factors. For example, if you graduated 15 years ago and your GPA was a 2.7, but you've been working in the emergency management or security management or Homeland Security field for 13 of those years, we take that in consideration. So other factors go into that. No GRE is required, but we do require a writing sample, and you can find that on the application site. And to graduate from the program, you also have to maintain a 3.0 GPA, which is standard across graduate programs throughout the country. Next slide. And we're going to go through each one. I'm not going to belabor this. The Homeland Security Studies MPS, it's made up of 7 core courses, and that includes the capstone. And then you have 4 electives. And the great thing about the Homeland Security Masters is that you get to choose what you're going to do with those 4 electives. We offer a couple of concentrations and certificates. Cyber, if you're interested in cyber and want to know more, again, cyber is becoming bigger and bigger within Homeland Security and Emergency Management. You can earn a concentration in that, or intelligence. And this is made up of 2 analytical courses. So how to do intel analysis. It's made up of a human intelligence and counterintelligence course and an open source intelligence course. And you can see some of the courses here. We're always adding new courses. Like I mentioned, the open source intel is going to be a new certificate program. But we also have border security, narco-terrorism, law and national security. So we're constantly adding new courses to kind of respond to how the industry is moving towards. Next slide. Security management. This one's a little bit more prescriptive. I'm going to change this actually in the fall. We're going to make it similar to how the emergency management and the Homeland Security degree look. So you have a little bit more freedom, a little bit more electives to take either a concentration or get a certificate. So right now, again, hopefully this will change in the fall. You have 9 courses, 1 elective and 1 capstone. And you can see the courses here. Again, we're focused more on the private sector. And so you'll notice a little bit of a difference. There are some similar courses like emergency management that doesn't change, but we have specific courses, including physical and infrastructure protection, risk management, threat assessment, corporate security, how to keep your employees and especially your leadership safe, business continuity, what happens when a storm or something else happens, how can you keep your business running, things you have to think about, ethics and business leadership, this is very important. And then again, cyber affects everything. I'll throw out a little factoid for you. The top 3 ransomware targets are CPAs, lawyers, and hospitals. Because if you think about it, they all have to have access to their computer records right away. And if they don't, then there's going to be a big problem. So cyber is just gaining in importance. It's hard to go a day without seeing something in the news about cyber threats and Homeland Security. Next slide. Here's emergency management. The slide's a little bit out of date. We've updated the curriculum. And so you have the option. It's just like the Homeland Security, where you have so many, you take 7 core courses, including the capstone, and then you have 4 electives to take. So you can either get a concentration or take electives. And you can see those here. Again, these courses are focused more towards emergency management. We have emergency planning, disaster communications, critical infrastructure protection. Again, very important to think about that and know how everything's interconnected. And then you can see the many different careers that are available to emergency managers in the US. This past year with COVID has brought a lot of attention and a lot of interest in emergency management. And the partnership that we have with social work and also with public health here at Tulane, so the School of Public Health and School of Social Work also have similar disaster programs focused on social work or public health. Our students can also take some of their courses. For example, the School of Social Work has a disaster psychology course that you're allowed to take, and they're also allowed to take some of our courses. So you can get interdisciplinary here at Tulane, and we try to reach out to the different departments here at Tulane to make sure that you can get the best rounded education that you need. Next. We have a very diverse faculty, and actually the program has the success that it has because of the faculty. We're a little bit different from other programs. The exception of myself and Dr. Rouse, who you met earlier, we're the only full-time employees here, and we both have had numerous years in the field, as we like to say. I was in the Navy for 20 years. Dr. Rouse was in the Army for 24 years, and she worked for FEMA after that. So all of our instructors actually work in the fields that they teach, which is important because they give you the theory behind, why are we doing this? But they also show you how that theory is put into practice. And that makes all the difference, because I tell students and prospective students that, we're training the next generation of Homeland Security and emergency management and security experts. And I'm doing that jealously because you're all going to take care of me. So it's in our best interest to make sure that we do it the right way. So we have some great, this is just 3 out of our 50 some odd faculty members. Meg McPherson is actually the emergency manager for Mount Sinai Hospital System up in New York City. She's been dealing with COVID for the last 1.5 years. It's amazing to talk to her and hear her stories. Derek Bose was with the Louisiana Flood Authority. And then Darren Gill was in federal law enforcement. Derek does a lot on critical infrastructure, and Darren does some counterterrorism and counterintelligence. All right, next. And we touched on this earlier in one of the slides, but we've had graduates employed in many different agencies and fields, including the U.S. military, federal law enforcement, emergency management. And again, we've had students at all levels of government, from federal all the way down to local parishes and counties. We're lucky enough that the deputy director of New Orleans Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness Office is one of our grads, and he actually now teaches for us. So it's great. State agencies, we've had graduates to work in the state of New Jersey, all the way to the state of Washington State. Actually, our graduate that went up to New Jersey got there about a month before Sandy, and she had an opportunity to update some of their hurricane plans before Sandy hit. So that was good. And then private industry and corporations. We've had, Dr. Rouse mentioned the hurricane conference that we were at last week. And also the private consulting companies and the private disaster companies that come in and are contracted by state and local governments to recover. They're hiring, and they need people who understand emergency management, how emergency management works. So there's a lot of private industry out there. We also have a lot of support from major oil companies here in the Louisiana area, and their security and emergency management side. And the last thing I'll leave you with, we also have a lot of our students are already in the field. And so not only do you learn from the instructors, but you learn from your classmates. And that's what it's all about, expanding your circle of contacts, and learning from each other. I think that's it for me. Yep, turn back over to Dan.
All right, yeah, thanks. Yeah, the networking opportunities are definitely great because I've seen where students have, faculty have offered students a job before where their company was hiring or something like that, for example, and just to be able to connect with people who have similar interests as you. You know, we have a lot of, in the undergraduate program, graduate probably as well, but we have several, you know, police officers, firefighters, EMS, and people in those fields, active duty military as well. So it's really great, and everybody can kind of share that knowledge, especially if they're, you know, working in the field already too. But yeah, so part of our school, we have, you know, offers student support and success. Firstly, academic advisors. Undergraduate would be myself. Graduate would be my director, Amanda Hassan. But so we're there for you, you know, from the moment you get admitted, every step of the way to assist you with pretty much everything. The master's programs, a lot of the times are pretty straightforward because you have your set list of classes there, but other things come up and you need somebody to talk to. You need somebody to be able to reach out to, you know, assist you. So the academic advisors, such as myself, that's what we're here for. Every step of the way, anything you need. Financial aid, you'll have a separate financial aid advisor if, so we don't have access to that information, so we actually can't assist you with that. But everything else, you know, we're here for you every step of the way, getting registered for classes, doing a prerequisite override for a class, you know, pretty much anything that has to deal with, you know, being back in school. As mentioned, expert faculty with industry experience. Our faculty are great. They're very accommodating to our students, especially if you work with them and tell them if you have to miss a class, if you're, whether you're in the military or you're in the fire department or whatever it is, like, I got to work a shift tonight, I can't do this, you know, can I, like, you know, turn my assignment in tomorrow morning or something, or, you know, things like that. Our faculty are great about that and very accommodating. They understand these folks, for the most part, work full time, have a family, have a, you know, baseball practice to go to and all these other little things. So they're really good and accommodating with those kind of things, as long as you, the key being communicate with them, and, you know, communication is the key with everything just about. So if you have a good relationship with them, they'll take care of you. You do what's, you know, needed on your end, and you walk out of here with a degree pretty quickly. Career advice, we have a career advisor on file in the office. Cynthia Washington is our career advisor. She teaches a class at the undergraduate level that is really helpful. It's a career success strategies class that students have found real beneficial to them. They've been taking that like in their last year or so, but in general too, you could always schedule a time to meet with her, and, you know, she'll help you touch up your resume or cover letter, or, you know, just basic career advice, stuff like that. And anything else, you know, she's a good resource at the university for our students. And the networks of program peers and other Tulane alumni, it's you know, once you graduate, you're, you know, you're an alumnus, and the networking opportunities are great, and especially in this program, the networking opportunities are in the IT program, I should say, as well. But they're great, and it's a good way to, you know, be successful and, you know, end up getting a nice job afterwards too. Next slide. Is that it? Okay, no. Applying, yeah, pretty straightforward process. You go to our website, sopa.tulane.edu. There's an apply button at the top. You just complete the application, you submit the essay, that writing sample. $50 application fee for graduate, $40 for undergraduate, but for attending the webinar today, once you apply, that fee will be waived for you. You'll have to upload a government ID, like a driver's license or something. And then you need to submit transcripts from each institution that you attended previously. So you'll have to contact your prior schools and have them send us an official transcript. A lot of schools do electronic transcripts now, which is great because the turnaround is like 24 to 72 hours, if not less than that. So they get here really quick. They get sent directly to us. Admissions uploads it into your file. And we don't require the GRE, but the submit all that, submit the application. Once everything's in, then it goes through the the approval process and all that stuff. Next slide. And yeah, so the application deadlines, they're pretty much a couple of weeks before the semester starts. And we have early enrollment scholarships as well for each. This one is passed now for the fall already, but that's just basically you get a discount if you are registered in your classes by that date. But so for the fall, you have August 1st. The semester starts like the 23rd or 24th of August. So that's just a day you have to apply by. And, if you're still missing a transcript or something, that's okay too. But, get that in. So you don't want to start and be admitted like the week classes start and kind of, fall behind right away or anything like that. So those deadlines are there for a reason, about 2 weeks prior to the semester starting. We have, admission every semester. So you can apply for spring, you can apply for summer, you can apply for fall. Next slide. And credit for prior learning. So that is a way to get college credit through, work experience, among other things. And there's a couple of different ways to do it. Depends on if you're gonna, be an undergrad or a graduate student. You can get credit for your learning outside of the classroom for work experience, community service, military training. Graduate students, you can get up to 6 credit through a portfolio assessment. What that is you'll take a short portfolio class. Like if you're in Homeland Security and you have some experience working in this field already or something, you believe you have the necessary background to get credit for a particular class, then you can, check with the director, get access to the portfolio class. It shows you how to do a portfolio. And then once you complete that, you will then put together a portfolio to present to kind of like a board of faculty that is contracted out by the university. And then if that is, deemed, good enough to get college credit for, then, they will give college credit for it, up to 6 credits for graduate, up to 24 for undergraduate. And then you pay like a small fee to get that credit versus paying, the regular tuition for the 3 credit hour course itself. And undergraduate, in addition to the portfolio assessment, there's also examination, which is like CLEP exams, DSST exams. Those we offer, well, we don't offer, but we accept some of those. They're on our website. I can, assist with that if that ever comes up. Military training as well. We can accept 12 credits up to for your previous military experience. And that's mostly going to be undergraduate because those credit recommendations are generally only at the undergraduate level. There may be some at the graduate level. It just depends on your background and rank and all that other stuff. But yeah, so there are ways to kind of speed up the process a little bit, perhaps, depending on your background and completing the undergraduate or graduate degree. And next slide. Financial assistance. So there's a bunch of different financial assistance options. Sorry. There's a 20% discount on tuition for undergraduate and graduate courses, for active duty military, for city, parish, sheriff's office, and housing authority employees here in the city. And at the graduate level, we for veterans and active and retired public safety personnel as well, such as firefighter, police officers, and paramedics. We do have veteran and active duty military benefits. There's a yellow ribbon program for eligible students that enroll in the master's degrees, the Montgomery GI Bill, VOC Rehab, Vocational Rehabilitation and Employment Program, and also Survivors and Dependents of Educational Assistance. Those, if you're active duty using benefits or anything like that, just let us know. We can, point you to the person to start that process off with. She works in the registrar's office, and her name is Belinda Ramey, but that's who you'd want to speak to get that all set up first, after you're admitted and all that good stuff, so that the tuition is then taken care of. But
Hey, Dan, can I say something real quick about veterans? We are actually in the process of establishing a Student Veterans of America chapter, and that should be set up this fall. And all veterans and active duty, and actually family members can join if you want. But it's also a place for veterans to get together and talk about issues. Even if you're not here on campus, you can still attend meetings and things like that. So I just want to plug that.
thanks. Yeah, definitely. All right, yeah. So next slide, affordability. Tuition costs. So for the fall, it's $576 per credit for undergraduate and $11.19 per credit for graduate. Financial aid, we offer financial aid to help pay for educational costs for those students who qualify. You would need to go through financial aid, do the FAFSA and all that good stuff, and then that determines if you qualify for financial aid or not. There are different types of aid though. There's the federal grants, federal loans, the yellow ribbon that was mentioned, and then the 20% discount that was mentioned as well. And then also the credit for work and life experience, where you can potentially get credit for a fraction of the tuition cost towards the degree. Next slide. Yeah, all right, great. That brings us to the end. I'll pass it off to Dr. Wallace. Thanks all for joining. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Thanks, Dan. And this is the part, like Dan was said, if you have any questions for me or Dan, please ask them now. And Tanya, not to rub it in with the beautiful weather in LA, been raining here for, I don't know, seems like weeks now.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. It stays pretty much sunny here all the time. We wish we had some rain. We're in a drought.
That's right. That's right. You all are, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely. So I have a quick question about the course hours, because I was looking at doing the graduate certificate program because I have a master's in public health. So are those available to start in the fall as well?
Yes, we run on a trimester system, so you can actually start any of our programs any semester that you want. You don't have to wait for the fall.
Okay.
So yes, the fall, those programs or those courses will be offered.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm definitely interested in it. Very, very interested. And it's $1,119 per credit hour. Is that correct?
I believe so, right, Dan?
Yeah, for graduates, $11.19 per credit hour, and then each course is 3 credits.
Okay, 3 credits. Got it. Okay, cool. Definitely interested. I've already begun my application, so I'll have to finish up just my writing assessment and a couple other things, and get my official transcripts. And I posted my unofficial already.
Great.
I believe Mike had a question.
Yes, I have a permanently rotating schedule that's very unpredictable at times. So the professors in the course offer some flexibility with not being able to make certain classes, correct?
Yeah, especially for the graduate program, we have the majority of the courses asynchronous, which means that there's no set meeting every week. You basically do your work during the week, and you don't have to come together. There are, I believe, 4 sessions per semester that are synchronous, and this allows you to meet with the instructor, meet with your classmates, and kind of have a typical in-person class. However, like Dan was saying, all of our instructors have been in the fields before, so like myself in the military, law enforcement, first responders. So we realize that people work shift work. Some people have things that come up. I mean, we're all adults here. Life happens. So my suggestion is just be in communication with your instructor, and I'd be very surprised if they don't work with you. Actually, I'd like to know if they don't work with you, because our instructors out of all the instructors here at SOPA, they probably know the most about working wonky schedules and having to make things work when they don't.
Okay. My next question is, what about breaks in semesters? So for instance, if I was to take classes for the fall semester and then maybe skip the spring for whatever scheduling conflicts and then pick back up in the summer, would that be an issue? Or
Dan, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that's an issue at all. You're on mute. You're on mute, Dan.
All right, yeah, I was replying to Mitzi here, and I missed the question. Can you repeat it?
He was asking if he takes like, let's say he does the fall semester, takes the spring semester and comes back in the summer, that's not an issue, right?
No. Like we'll have, if we know a student is gonna take a semester off, we'll do a leave of absence form for them so that we know that they're taking off and have it on file, and then we can then reactivate them in the semester that they're coming back. If you take off more than a year, then and the curriculum changes, then you may have to move to the new curriculum. You know, if you've only taken like 1 or 2 classes, you take off for a year or two, the curriculum has changed since, then you will fall under that new curriculum if you take off more than a year. But otherwise, if you take off a semester or two, then come back, that's fine. We just have to reactivate you. As long as you're in good standing, you have at least the 3.0 graduate GPA, and you come in for the fall, and then you take off in the spring and take off in the summer too, for that matter, and then you come back the following fall, that's fine.
okay, thank you.
You won't have to go through the whole reapplication process either. It'll just be, well, I think it works that way for graduate too, is where if it's less than a year, advisor, we will just be able to go in and reactivate you and then give you access to everything again. Because if you sit out, it'll inactivate your account. Doesn't mean you were dismissed or anything like that. And then we'll just be able to add you back, whenever you're ready to come back.
Okay, thank you.
And Mike, I don't, as the director, I don't see any major curriculum changes. We've done that already. I recently updated the Homeland Security master's degree because when it was first developed in 2009, it was kind of a generalist degree focusing on emergency management and Homeland Security. Now that we have separate degrees, I refocused it more on Homeland Security type issues. So long story short, I don't see any curriculum changes coming down the pike. So,
All right, thank you, Dr. Wallace. It wouldn't be, I would try to avoid that at all costs, but worst case scenario, if I needed to take a semester off.
yeah,
Things happen. So, I mean, that's totally normal. I know a lot of people took this summer off because COVID and everything, they just had it up to here basically, and they needed a break, or their job or family things came up. So people, that's totally normal and fine. And for undergraduate, the curriculum has changes, not the major, but there's other curriculum changes that occur. So for graduate, like Dr. Wallace said, then you should be fine.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but so Mike, Dr. Wallace, Mitzi had mentioned, I just was letting her know that there's a cyber threats and cybersecurity class, for the undergraduate major. We don't have any programming requirement for that major, but she had indicated a field of interest in intelligence analysts with interest in geospatial.
Yeah, and that's a great question, Mitzi. So the course that you'll take as an undergrad is actually a computer science course, but it does not involve programming or anything like that. It's basically a cyber threats. It's what you need as a manager to kind of understand the different threats, how to respond to them, and things like that. You would not be writing code, and let me tell you, I would be lost if I had to write code. So this is at the very high 30,000 foot level. It's very interesting to me that you're interested in intelligence and also geospatial. We just recently introduced both on the undergrad and grad side courses in GIS. which have been very popular. And we're actually, I think, the only part of Tulane that does offer GIS courses. So you will definitely be able to take a GIS course while you're here at Tulane, both at the undergrad and the grad side. And I forgot to mention this. We have an industry advisory board, and this board is very important because it's made up of experts in the field. And for example, we have representatives from Disney, from Homeland Security, from Shell Oil, from Center for Disease Control, FBI, some private security companies, some emergency managers. And so these are people that are very experienced in their fields. They're very senior people. And twice a year, I meet with them and basically lay out, okay, this is our curriculum. What do you think that we need to add or take away or change or beef up or do anything like that? And again, we do that twice a year, and it works very well because that allows us to, oh yeah, maybe we do need GIS, or maybe we do need a open source Intel course, because it is becoming extremely popular all across government to private industry. So that's kind of, again, as we see it, we let the industry drive us. We don't try to drive the industry. And so that's just kind of our philosophy. I'll shut up now. So if anyone else has a question or they think of a question after, please email me. My email is right there on the screen, MWALLAC4, there's no E, at tulane.edu. You can also find it on the website. Be happy to talk with you about Homeland Security, emergency management, career options, the different programs, any questions. Pretty much the best part of my job is talking with applicants, students, and teaching. I could do without the admin stuff, but I think everyone feels that way. So, all right. Well, thank you all very much. Thanks for taking the time. And again, if you have any questions, let me know.
Thank you so much.